I've always been a very busy person, and I love it that way. There's nothing more satisfying for me than a day gridded out with different commitments, waking me up bright and early and carrying me late into the night. Being a teenager, the majority of my time is spent in school, and I genuinely love being there. Wait, a kid who enjoys high school? What? I know. I'm a nerd. Although I do look forward to school for the social aspect, my love for school is rooted mainly in my love of learning. And the best part of learning is that it doesn't have to end when the school day ends. Since I was young, I've come home from my long school day only to dive into topics that are of interest to me that are not covered in school. Whether that is how Parmesan cheese is made or how the universe started, I love diving in and learning. But in recent years, with pressures to perform well in classes and an ever-increasing workload, I've had to spend more and more time on schoolwork. As a result, I've had to put many of my intellectual curiosities on hold. In high school, my days are filled with hours of rigorous coursework in class, followed by more studying. SATs, college visits, and the quest for perfect grades consume my life. That is until last March, when all of the bustle and work around me came to a sudden stop. In a matter of hours, I went from having 5 upcoming tests, a huge presentation in a couple days, and 18 club meetings to get to having nothing but time during quarantine. All I could think was, what do I do now? I vividly remember the unnatural feeling I had being able to sleep in on a weekend and not get right to work on my busy schedule. I was upset. I thrive in fast-paced environments, and I didn't want my learning to slow down. I worried that with my strict schedule gone, I wouldn't be able to learn and grow as much. I worried that my progress would come to a screeching halt. And I was half right. My learning definitely slowed down. School wasn't nearly what it used to be, and like any teenager, I get lazy when I'm given the time to be. However, there was a benefit to this pause that I didn't expect. In my newfound time, I was able to experience a new type of self-discovery and exploratory learning that I had never been exposed to before. Being stuck at home during quarantine forced me to slow down from my usually fast-paced life and gave me the time to unleash and foster my curiosities again. I was able to self-reflect and pursue the topics and endeavors that I was interested in. Although I missed my structured life, I loved having the opportunity to grow through exploration. I read about politics and developed my own views. I learned about the stock market and I made my own evaluations. I taught myself guitar and I entered a writing contest. And through this self-directed learning, I took my first steps towards being a dynamic, thinking member of society and not just a memorizer of facts. Because I was the driver, I felt invested in and connected to what I was learning. I felt at one with my ideas. Now, thankfully, life is finally starting to go back to the speed it was before we were all locked down. And though I've gone back to my busy life, even more chaotic than ever with a rigorous senior class schedule and college applications, my time alone helped me grow in a way that I had never grown before. So as I continue with my busy schedule, I now remind myself to slow down and ask myself these 2 crucial questions. Do I really know what's going on, or am I just memorizing this to spit it back out on the test? And what does this knowledge mean to me? I strive to acquire wisdom and understanding in school now, not just information. I take what I'm taught and transform it into the type of exploratory learning that I enjoyed during quarantine. As teenagers, our lives get increasingly more busy as the tunnel-visioned approach of getting into a good college becomes our biggest focus. Curious, excited students transform into robots, doing whatever it takes to churn out the good grades and perfect resume needed to get into their dream school. Believe me, because that has been me. And I continue to see it with my classmates and friends. But here's what I've realized. Nobody changed the world simply because they had a perfect 4.0. Did Einstein come up with the theory of relativity because he got an A in calculus class? No. He took the time to explore his own thoughts and interests and dove deeply into them. He looked at what he was taught through a lens of skepticism instead of just memorizing it. Yet, memorization is the norm in many high school classrooms. Shouldn't we be doing everything we can to promote the practices that will grow good students into great thinkers? The people that change the world are the ones who look at the world with an original perspective and who take the time to think deeply about things, to question things. Our current school system often guides students onto the same path toward success, but that path often doesn't allow ample time for creative thought and self-guided learning. We need to allow our minds to direct us, not let the strict schedules we abide by determine where our lives go. This is important for all people to remember as we transition back into our normal lives, but it's especially important for those my age. Adolescence is the period in which people begin to discover who they are and develop an identity. And we can't do that if we never make the time. If we want to become who we're meant to be, we sometimes have to slow down. Thank you.